Today's lesson is about Amazon's simple storage service, S3. S3 is an object storage service. It is designed for scalable, durable, and secure storage. It is typically used for backups, archiving, data lakes, so it can contain structured and unstructured data, web hosting, and so much more. Objects are stored in buckets. The buckets have a globally unique name, and a bucket itself will be created in a region, and you should create it in a region close to you in order that the latency is as low as possible. So let's talk about Amazon S3 key features. First of all, there's scalability. It has an unlimited storage capacity, which means that you can just keep adding objects to S3 without worrying about anything. The durability. It has a 99.9999999%, so 11 nines data durability, which means that your data is extremely unlikely to be lost. If you would store 10 million files, statistically you'd lose one file every 10,000 years due to storage failure. The availability. It has a 99.99% availability, which means it has a maximum of 52 minutes of downtime per year. And finally, the size. You can add files up to 5 terabytes. Let's take a look to the Amazon S3 storage classes. We have different storage classes depending on our needs. So first of all, we have the S3 standard one. This is a general purpose storage class, and this is for data that is frequently accessed. Then we have the standard infrequently accessed. It's for data that's infrequently accessed, but when we need it, we need an instant retrieval. Then we have the one zone infrequent access. This is for data that can be recreated and is infrequently accessed. It's stored only in one zone, so there's a potential that your data will be lost, so you should only use it for data that can be recreated. Then the next three storage classes are of the Glacier storage class. So we have the Glacier Instant Retrieval. This is for data that we want to store for a very long time, and we only need it for a few times a year, but when we need it, we need an instant retrieval. The next one is the Glacier Flexible Retrieval. So this is for backups and archiving data that is rarely accessed. There are retrieval options for a few minutes up to 5 hours. And finally, we have the Glacier Deep Archive. This is also for saving our backups or archiving data that is very rarely accessed, and there are retrieval options of 12 or 48 hours. And as you can see from up to down, it's for data that's very frequently accessed until data that's very infrequently accessed. Also, the cost, of course, for the standard one is the highest, and for the Glacier Deep Archive, it's the cheapest option. In Amazon S3, there is also the option of versioning. So what does it mean? You can keep multiple versions of an object in a bucket. So if you have a certain image that you upload, you make some changes, and you upload it again with the same name. If you enable versioning, it will keep all those different versions. And it protects against accidental overwrites and deletions. It's useful for tracking, for example, changes in models, datasets, or code. And you can recover deleted or overwritten data easily. It works well with the S3 Lifecycles rules as well. These Lifecycle rules we will see on the next slides. As we have seen previously, there are different S3 storage classes. So for each associated storage class, there is a different cost. For example, in the beginning, we need to access our data frequently, so we put it, for example, in S3 standard. But after a few months, we don't actually need it that frequently anymore, so we can change it. So that's why there are lifecycle rules. You can automatically transition your data to cheaper storage over time. You can expire, so delete data after a set period. It helps manage your long-term storage costs for data sets, but for all data that you store in S3. For example, you can move your data to S3 Glacier after 30 days and delete it after 1 year. So this is an example of two different lifecycle rules. It works also well with versioned and non-versioned buckets. And it's useful for managing training logs of models and datasets. Amazon S3 also offers intelligent tiering, so it will automatically move data between storage classes to save costs. There is no performance impact or retrieval fees. It's good for data with changing or unpredictable access patterns. Supports frequent, infrequent, and archive access. There's a small monthly fee for monitoring for each object. It helps reduce storage costs without any manual intervention. Now let's take a look to the concepts of S3 cross-region replication, CRR, and same-region replication, SRR. First of all, CRR copies your objects to a different AWS region, and SRR copies your objects within the same region to a different bucket. It ensures data durability, availability, and is very important for compliance. So what is it useful for? It's very useful for disaster recovery, when we need low latency access, or we need regional compliance. It only works when we enable versioning on the source and the destination as well. It supports also the replication of new objects, but it doesn't work retroactive. Now let's take a look to Amazon S3 encryption. S3 protects your data at rest in the S3 buckets. It encrypts your data automatically at upload. It works with versioning, lifecycle rules, and replication. There are two main types. The first type is the server-side encryption, SSE. We have SSE S3, managed keys by AWS. So AWS encrypts your files using their own keys automatically. Then we have SSE KMS, so managed by AWS Key Management Service. And with KMS, you can track and control your key usage, so it's very useful for compliance. And finally, we have SSE-C, so you manage and provide your own keys. So you provide your own encryption keys with every upload and download request. AWS doesn't store them, so it requires more effort. And finally, you can also encrypt your data at the client side. So here's a short overview of the Amazon S3 XM Essentials. First of all, CRR, so cross-region replication. You should know that this option exists and that it's used for replicating data to another region. Then also Amazon S3 can be used for data lakes, so you can store structured and unstructured data. A typical question would be about the data pipeline with 4 different options, and some options would differ only by the way that you would store your data. So you would have S3 and Redshift, and you are storing, for example, unstructured data. So then you should know that the option with Redshift is not correct and that you should use S3 for that.